Welcome to Birchal First Look. I'm your host, Matt Vitale. This is the show where we invite startups to sit down with some of Australia's most seasoned investors and find out if they've got what it takes. Andrew, welcome. Tell us about your business, what you want to get out of today.
Look, we're just really excited to meet some people who just know so much about the industry, so much about startup, and really to help us grow. Right? We have a car insurance business that's looking to disrupt how you pay, right, and really get people cheaper prices and more value.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot of experience in that room. I know they're itching to chat to you, so let's get started.
Okay.
G'day.
Hey guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
Welcome.
Thanks.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again
like
too.
3 times in 2 weeks.
KOBA. So have you guys ever wondered why your car insurance policy or price goes up every year? And it's ultimately because car insurance companies use aggregated pricing models and data sets and macro environments to determine how much someone like you should pay. So you don't actually have any control of what you're paying. So KOBA wants to change that. And so we've created a pay-per-kilometer car insurance product where the distance that you travel is determined and the price is determined by the distance that you travel. Right? So it's great for people who really aren't driving that much. And so, our business has been around for maybe a year time or so. And so the market is huge. There are $22 billion worth of market opportunity from roughly 20 million cars. Our team is insurance pros, high growth marketeers, and this is my third startup. And since going live, our customers have saved an average between $200 and $500 per year. And so, we're here to get some advice, hear what you guys think. But really, last year we raised some money from Birchal, and we used that to get live, to sell our first product, get product market fit, all those great metrics that we normally put out there in the first year. And then we are hopefully, if the time is right, going to raise again soon with the idea that we can launch some new products, put 20 new partners on the platform, and set up a couple of new opportunities here in Australia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the competitive landscape? And obviously the car insurance industry is a little bit crowded. Can you just tell us where KOBA fits in that landscape right now, and then also where you see it fitting like in the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, sure. So car insurance, much like lots of industries here in Australia, there's a duopoly, right? IAG and Suncorp run about 65% of the total market. So companies like Amy or NRMA or some of the other big ones are actually brands of IAG and Suncorp. And so with those brands, they cover, again, roughly 65% of the market. KOBA will be a new entrant. We have an underwriting partner called Eric Insurance. But because there are so many cars, the market is so big, for us, 50,000 customers would be life-changing, right? My grandkids will be successful off of the back of that. 50,000 cars for IAG or Suncorp is a rounding error. So there's tons of room to play. Right. In terms of the product set, though, all of these guys sell traditional car insurance products. Right. Again, you pay once at the beginning of the year, and that's it. KOBA is the only data-driven car insurance company on the market, and hopefully, if we do it right, in the next 3 to 5 years' time, there'll actually be competition, and we would have started a category, built up something where people want to really become part of.
You say data. What kind of data do you look for, and how does that help?
Yeah. So we have a small device that plugs directly into the car, or if you have a new modern car, you can connect your connected car directly to our platform. And we collect things like GPS and distance that you travel, and all to determine how much you pay. Right? And with that data, all of a sudden becomes a really interesting way to engage with your insurer, because they're able to give you actually more services. Traditionally, when an insurance company only talks to about 10% of their audience, so customers every year, because that's when you get in a claim, that's when you get in an accident, right? With the data, it actually unlocks our ability to talk to the other 90% of customers during the year and talk to them when they're happy, not when they're grumpy and gotten in an accident.
I'm curious about the wider application for the device that monitors kilometres. Have you thought about that and opportunity there?
Yeah, so there is a huge opportunity for behavior-based driving, for things outside of the car, but we don't really focus on that right now. We're worried that things like that and behavior-based is something that goes a little bit too far into tracking, into risk and insurance. We really use the GPS predominantly to drive and determine what your premium is, right? So that way, if you drive 10 kilometers, you only pay for 10 kilometers. In the future, if we can create some great services like how to change your tires or better safety or reviews and reminders on when to go get a service, it'd be awesome. But really the risk, the premium, the price on what you pay is predominantly focused on that distance.
Yeah. And the last raise, you reached your maximum subscription, which is great. What have you done with those funds?
Yeah, so we were pretty lucky. We maxed out in 5 days after raising $1 million. We did that all pre-revenue and right at the beginning of signing up our underwriter as our partner. So in those 12 months, we've gone to market. We've picked up our first couple of hundred customers and over $100,000 in annual recurring revenue. We've created about 9 partners, promotional partners, and 2 very specific comparison sites that help us put our product right in front of the customer when they're shopping. And so if we raise again, the goal is to probably triple all of that. More comparison sites, more partners, and continue to grow the product.
I think your ability to execute is clear from the traction from the last raise. I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest challenge for KOBA?
The biggest challenge is going to be uptake. Right, this is a brand new product. In the UK, in the US, and even parts of Italy, telematics and data-driven insurance has been around for a number of years, and there's quite a few applications to show its benefits. Here in Australia, we've just never had it before. So introducing it to a new audience and taking it to early adopters is going to be a key thing for us for the next 12 months, which is really why we love the Birchal partnership, because there's just a huge automatic market of early adopters. People just seem to love this type of stuff. And once we get through that, it's really about how fast we can grow a product and how fast we can offer the benefits and services to the customers.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So Andrew, how'd it go?
It was great. Those guys know so much. It's such good questions and really helping me understand the opportunity that we have in front of us.
Yeah, awesome. Any pointers, any particular bits of information you gleaned from the questions?
No, I think we're onto something. I think we're really excited at what we can offer, and we're really excited to see what the Birchal audience responds.
Congrats on the award again.
Thank you.
Fantastic, and really excited to be on the next stage of your journey. So thanks so much for coming.
All right, talk to you soon.
See you, mate.
Yeah, I think it has, obvious potential to save people money, and I think in the current climate, that's something that people will obviously be looking at. I have some queries around privacy and how, particularly Gen Z feel about that. They're sort of at the top end, 25, 24. I'd say that that's the target that would be looking at a product like this. And then I think the whole thing is speed to market. He's sort of the first entrant. There's a bit of noise around this space, so it will be that ability to really get that uptake in customers.
Yeah. I love the idea of not being focused on the claim, but actually thinking about the driving experience and everyone has an insurer, I guess, but that idea that I'm focused on the 90%, because normally I know I get my renewal and it's like, oh, here we go. So I think that's actually something that has got a much better traction process, I feel, to keep engagement up rather than the traditional insurer, which is, I'll see if I can slip the premium increase through quietly without you even paying attention.
Yeah, I think it's a great example of an industry that is still largely undisrupted in Australia, and it's just rife for disruption, rife for innovation. The solution itself is not particularly out of the box, novel or innovative. You're paying per kilometre based on what you actually drive using technology that it's not, groundbreaking science or anything but it's just, I think it will be quite successful because it's just innovating in a space that's crying out for innovation. And he's clearly got good partners on board, he's got the ability to execute. So it just feels to me like one of those ones where yep, that makes sense, there's room for them, they'll do well. Sure. I have less concerns around the privacy. Just at a macro trend level, I don't know, maybe it's a whole other topic, maybe it's not one, but I'm less concerned about that as a macro trend of consumer behaviour.
Well, I expect that people who are concerned aren't going to necessarily use the product, but as you said, it's the 50,000 people who are probably the safest and more limited kilometre drivers will naturally go, well, this will save me money versus
Exactly,
others.
and there are many other examples in market of where there's a financial trade-off for privacy and there's a financial trade-off for data, and it just trumps, you know, like there's almost some apathy.